Hello, everyone. We're going to give you a moment here to sign on. We have many of you here with us, so we'll go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone. Happy Friday. Thank you for joining us today. Today's webinar is entitled ESA Membership and its Impact on Training and Onboarding. It's no secret that while most state and local jurisdictions require security companies to hold a license to operate, these laws and licensing requirements differ immensely from state to state and are ever changing. Not only this, but the cost to maintain these licenses for you and your employees can make or break your annual budget. We're going to talk about training today. We're going to talk about ESA membership and its impact it can have on you training your staff. We'll take a deep dive into ESA's National Training School offerings and what sets this industry educational outlet apart from other competitors in the market, especially for our ESA members when it comes to savings. I'm Jillian Bateman, ESA's Chief Development Officer, and I'll be facilitating today's webinar. I'm joined by my colleague, Sophia Dominguez, our Business Development Executive specializing in membership, and I'm going to hand it off to Sophia and our training experts in just a moment. But before I do, I have a few practical housekeeping notes for you first-timers joining us today. First, all callers will be muted for the duration of the webinar, but that doesn't mean we don't want to hear from you. At any time, feel free to ask a question by clicking into that Q&A icon on your control panel. There's no need to save those questions until the end of today's interactive session. As something pops up, go ahead and ask it, and we'll ensure we have time to address your questions with our experts today. We'll also be recording today's webinar so you can rewatch the on-demand video at your leisure and share with your colleagues. And finally, in your control panel, you'll see a window for slide content, and you'll also see a window for those speakers sharing video. Hello. Feel free to double click on the content window to make that larger at any point during the webinar. We at ESA realize your time is valuable, and we appreciate you spending that time with us today. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce to you Sophia Dominguez. Sophia is both personally and professionally driven to impact her community, utilizing her extensive resource management experience to help others exceed their own expectations and, more importantly, thrive amidst our ever-changing market. She graduated from Texas Tech University with a dual degree in psychology and philosophy. She is skilled at finding creative solutions to complex problems, and outside of the office, she enjoys camping, hiking, and taking her dog Peanut on road trips. I'll let you take it away, Sophia.
Thanks, Jillian. Hey, and I want to mention too, those that are tuning in via Facebook Live, want to say hello to you guys and thanks for joining as well. And you guys can also interact with me and my fellow presenters here today by asking questions in the comments on Facebook Live as well. So I want to make sure to shout out to those guys. Thank you everybody for joining. I may have some people that have been with us in this webinar series from the beginning. We've gone through several of ESA's member benefits, including our member savings program, our insurance program, and now our training. And I'm super excited to have my colleagues on here. I have Michelle Youngblood. She's our Chief Knowledge Officer. I like to call her Gandalf. She is the holder of all the information here at ESA, and especially with our training. And so I'm super excited to bring her on, as well as Pat Allen. She is our Director of Licensing and Compliance and Business Development. She definitely holds the keys to the kingdom in knowing everything there is to know about licensing throughout all 50 states, and is constantly working with our ESA members in engaging them with our training programs and saving them the most money. So we're going to get right into it and kind of start talking about training and licensing. I'm going to start off by showing right now that 70% of states that require training, certification, or any kind of other CEU credits recognize NTS trainings. That's actually quite big. As you guys probably know, licensing requirements are different across all 50 states. There is no one generic standard for licensing and training requirements. So for our ability to be able to ebb and flow and to provide for the needs for our members and for companies that are existing in this industry across the entire United States, it's pretty big. We are the most widely recognized by local AHJs throughout the country. We are also NICET substitutes, again, in many states. Now, our recognition is constantly growing, and we'll get into it here a little bit more. I'm going to touch base with Pat here soon, because our approvals are expanding, even in those states where we currently do not have approval. We're constantly working on making sure that we're keeping up with the requirements as they change throughout the year annually. So we are expanding our footprint constantly with current proposals for approvals, not just for intrusion, but for fire as well. So right here, not every state is created equally. This is a visual that I wanted to put together for you guys to see. You know, some companies operate in just one singular state. A lot of companies expand outside of one state. So this kind of shows where there is training requirements. The green, the darker green, shows you where there are training requirements all the way across the board. The lighter green shows you where there are different training requirements in different counties. The orange shows you where training requirements may not be there for intrusion, but they have training requirements for fire or vice versa. So again, they're very different. And the red states show you where there are not currently any training requirements to operate in that state. So kind of keeping up with that is exceptionally difficult for a lot of our companies, especially new companies that are just entering into the space, as well as those that are trying to expand their operations out of one state. So this is really hard to keep up. It's a huge headache for our companies trying to figure out what they need, not only as the owner or as the qualifying agent, or their different installers. If they have different divisions, what do they need for low voltage versus fire? Very, very difficult. So that's why here at ESA, we really put our heads together, really provide these compiled resources to make sure to deliver that information to you guys pretty cleanly and without all those hours behind research. This next visual I wanted to show you guys, this is where we have all of our NTS approvals. And Pat, I'm going to bring you in on this one. So the green states show us where we do have national training school approvals, where our training and certifications are approved in that state for licensure. Now the red states are showing where we do not have approval, but that does not mean that we're not an approved training center. Those states may not require training, correct, Pat? Kind of explain to me some of those red states.
Well, some of the states have absolutely no licensing requirements. There's nothing, for example, in Indiana or Pennsylvania. So some of the states have no requirements. Other states, the licensing is tied to electrical. So they might require an apprenticeship program, things along that nature. So we don't currently have an apprenticeship program, and our courses are tied more toward electronic security and life safety rather than electricians. So we would not have anything in the states that are indicated in red on the map.
Right. Now, so the yellow states, so we're working on approval in those states, correct?
Correct. In Nevada, they have NICET requirements, and I currently have a proposal sitting on the Nevada Fire Marshal's desk. He's a little bit inundated right now in Las Vegas because there's so much going on that he hasn't had a chance to review it, but I'm hoping in the future that at some point in time we get our level 2 fire alarm certifications approved as an alternative to NICET level 2.
Okay, and then I wanted to touch on that. So if we are a NICET substitute, and we have a company that's always, maintained a NICET certification, why would a company choose NTS versus NICET? So what is that positive takeaway from utilizing National Training School versus NICET if we are an approved substitution?
Well, the difference is NICET is strictly a testing and credentialing agency. With the ESA fire alarm certifications, there's training, testing, and credentialing. So it's a much easier path to be able to take the training and learn the material that you need to know in order to pass that exam and earn that certification. With NICET, they simply give you a suggested list of reference materials to study. So, there's no focused, this is what you need to know to learn this material and pass the exam.
Right.
As
So
well as our processing time. I mean, we can process once someone goes through the series of courses and passes each exam and turns in proof of their, years experience to earn the certification. We process it much, much quicker than, NICET's processing their paperwork.
Right, right. So we are in 70, so we have a 90, or no, sorry, not 90, 70% approval rate throughout the United States. Some of these are recent, Pat. Which ones, which states were our most recent approvals this last year?
Well, in Michigan, a fire alarm specialty technician had to be NICET level 2 to qualify and be eligible to sit for the their state exam. We recently, this year, we got our level 2 approved as an alternative to NICET. Just got approval in Hawaii for the fire alarm level 2 certificate of fitness. And just this week, I got approval from the city of Wichita, Sedgwick County in Kansas for their level 2 fire alarm technician license.
Well, that's
So,
awesome, Pat.
yeah, continue. I have a number of proposals out there. The New Mexico chapter is actually having a meeting this month trying to get some training approved for licensing there. I have approvals pending with the Utah Fire Marshal. So constantly working to identify those states or counties or cities that have NICET requirements to introduce our program, see if we can get approved as an alternative.
Now, one thing that we didn't really prep for this webinar, but I wanted to bring up because we talked about it this last year with a couple companies. Oftentimes in different industries, so say it's government, or say it's a healthcare or industrial setting where companies are providing bids on projects. Some of these institutions, say a hospital or a government, facility, some of those facilities required NICET. But I think we talked about this last year where we can go to those entities and provide our training or be allowed, ask for the allowance to be a substitute there as well, correct?
We certainly could. I mean, I have not had that come up yet, but if a company was working with a larger company and they asked for NICET, I would certainly be happy to put together the information to send to that entity to review our program and hopefully get approval as an alternative to the NICET requirements.
Okay. So obviously we're working pretty closely with these companies and their needs depending on their marketplace or depending on the licensing requirements. And I know, Pat, you kind of speak with companies pretty often in their licensing needs, whether it's bringing on more employees, or having to kind of change what they do if they're moving into different marketplaces. Who is the best point of contact for whether it's a non-member or a member in trying to figure out some of these specific intricacies with training?
Oh, well, they can certainly contact me, and I'm with my familiarity with all the different state licensing laws, I can help guide them to the training and the courses that they're going to need to satisfy the state licensing requirements.
Perfect. Now, one thing that I wanted to bring up, so when we're kind of talking about all these different licensing requirements, ESA has put together a really great resource called the State Licensing Guide. What's wonderful about this State Licensing Guide is that it's actually not available anywhere but online, because in the back end of this guide, it is connected to each of these different entities, whether it's county or state level. So it is constantly updated to provide the different requirements for licensing renewals, for intrusion, fire, access control, or even sales. This is, again, one of those the biggest challenges is keeping up to date with these different requirements. So ESA has put together this amazing state licensing guide. Now, this licensing guide is available to non-members to be purchased. I believe that cost is about $1,300, but for members of ESA, you get access to the state licensing guide for free. It kind of looks just like how that picture depicts. You pull up the state licensing guide, click on the state that you're interested in, and it brings up a very detailed list of all the different licenses that you will have to keep an eye out for in that state, and each different kind of requirement, whether it's renewal or initial licensing, that you can be aware of. So again, we're taking care of the time needed to keep up with those different requirements, and making sure that you guys have all the information that you need so that you're able to actually get that training and move forward and invest that time and energy back into your company and do the work that you're hoping to do. So we're not taking care of just the headache, just those research hours. We're actually taking care of the price as well. Members get a huge price break on the courses and the certifications that they already need. Our members get approximately $100 discount on those core courses. On bundles, oftentimes that price break is much higher. This is an area where easily you can recover the dues for membership. If you're taking 1 or 2 courses a year, depending on your membership tier, you're definitely recouping that dues amount. Now, beyond this, all members have access to that $100 off per core course. We even provide price breaks for CEUs, but beyond this, and I'll get into it here in a little bit, we have a power volume discount available for members as well. But right here, I pulled this from a current ESA member out of South Carolina. They have about 5 employees, and this was their purchase, or these were their purchases over the course of this last year. They purchased 3 CAT Level 1 courses and 2 electronic access control courses. So I wanted to be able to show you guys in monetary terms how membership plays a role in your training and licensing requirements, and how that puts that money back into your pocket, increases your ROI there. So they purchased 5 courses this last year. They spent $1,500 and saved $500. That recouped their dues twofold. So that's a huge benefit. Pat, this is what I was kind of bringing up earlier, the power user discount packages. So explain to me a little bit about these packages. How is this different than just the average, say if they were going to purchase 1 course, or how do these packages play a role into their annual purchasing, and why should they go for a power volume discount package?
So, for example, the regular member savings on an online course is $100 over the non-member rate. But if you know that you're going to use larger amounts over the next year and a half, you can purchase a power user package, and for as few as 16 courses, and save a total of $130 per course as opposed to $100 per course. You have 18 months from the time of purchase to use the package, and we can do any combination. For example, on the Category A courses, that includes our Certified Alarm Technician Level 1, Advanced Intrusion Systems, Fire Alarm Installation Methods, Access Control, Video. And then we have Category B courses that are 1-day courses. For example, our Life Safety Code, or Texas Residential Fire Alarm course, or Understanding Electronic Security Systems. And you can bundle, you can say, Pat, I want, 10 category A courses and 6 category B courses, and get the price break that's listed in that particular category of 16 to 30. So you can, kind of look at your needs a year to a year and a half out and say, I'm probably going to use X amount of these courses with the new hires, or continuing to increase their level of certification. We also have CEU hourly bundles where in many of the states that require continuing education, we have price breaks on the CEU hours to where you can purchase different amounts based on the volume and get deeper discounts than the regular member price.
Well, that's great, Pat. Thanks for letting me kind of take a look at these different packages. And I know that they're very specific. So I know, every company's needs are so different. Again, kind of referencing back to that map and the different licensing requirements by state, and kind of understanding the needs of individual companies, again, varies. And that's one way in which, ESA works for our companies. We're able to sit down with each individual and customize a package and form fit membership around their needs and their requirements. So, training and licensing is the same as any other benefit that we provide to our member companies. And you can go ahead and check out and calculate a pretty generic number of savings from our esaweb.org/membership site. We do have a calculator there, but of course, definitely feel free to reach out to myself or Pat, and that way we can actually get down to the nitty-gritty and run some of those numbers specifically for you guys, and see what your actual annual savings would be, and again, to kind of understand better some of those packages and some of those different certifications. Pat is a great resource on that. So we're going to kind of move into the next half of this presentation. So we talked about training and state requirements and licensing. Along that same vein, though, the other half of this presentation is about TaaS, so our training as a service program. I wanted to introduce some stats to you guys. So, we talk often about increasing your ROI, so increasing your return on investment. A lot of business owners are very familiar with ROI and understanding the different components of it. But I want to introduce to you guys the idea of employee ROI. So increasing your capital gains through the leadership of your company, so human capital, basically. We talked a little bit about this in one of my first webinars, but if you guys didn't attend, that webinar, I wanted to bring it up here. So 89% of employers think their employees leave for more money. This is actually a very hot topic in our industry right now. Employee retention, finding qualified professionals in the electronic security and life safety space. This is pretty huge. We have this huge employee gap with boomers leaving and needing to bring in a whole different new workforce into our space. So understanding really the kind of thought process and understanding the reasonings behind some of these problems that we have, like employee retention and employee hiring, it's pretty important to making sure that you're also increasing your capital and maintaining. So you can kind of see only 12% of employees actually leave their current company for more money. And we've also kind of found that it's actually for opportunities. Employees are looking for opportunities to grow, leadership opportunities, and more training. So it isn't just about the money, it's about the investment into your employees. So kind of talking about engagement versus disengagement. Highly engaged employees are 87% less likely to leave their current company, and disengaged employees cost organizations between $450 and $550 billion annually. So these, while it's human factors, they definitely translate into financials. So we actually did an article recently back in August titled "Develop Your Staff Before Competitors Steal Your Top Performers." And a lot of times we talk to company owners and they express concerns about training their employees, but then having them leave after they invest that time and energy and money into their employees. But you know, in introducing TaaS, so training as a service program, we really wanted to pay attention to what our company owners were needing. We were really paying attention to what the needs were in this space. So, you know, if we saw from SHRM took some reports, and an employee is 12 times more likely to consider leaving if they don't believe that they have the opportunities to achieve their career goals. And so you can kind of see some more stats on there. I don't want to just read it to you guys. I want to bring Michelle in here. Michelle, so TaaS is a very new program for us, training as a service. We actually just got out of the beta phase. We have several member companies already enrolled in this onboarding program. So I wanted to bring you in, and I'm glad you're here. I'm going to actually skip through these stats because I think it's going to be more important to talk about TaaS here. Michelle, kind of tell me, what is training as a service? This was a new concept for me, as I've never heard of training as a service, and I was really surprised to hear that actually this is our industry's first and only customizable in-house onboarding program. So kind of introduce me and the rest of the attendees here to TaaS.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Sophia. Yeah, TaaS is exciting to us. So traditionally, ESA National Training School has been around since 1985, and we've done a great job of providing training to the industry. We tend to tie that into a lot of the conversation we just went through, which was licensing requirements, right? Where's the demand? Where's the strong need for people to get a license and to get working? Now, what we've seen with the shift, as you've already mentioned, with the generational, turnover in the workforce and some challenges and just the different needs as technology grows, we have heard in the last 5 years from a lot of members that they're struggling with keeping their employees, getting their employees, and how to make them stickier. And we hear a lot about a sticky customer, but they really need a sticky employee that can stick with them, be committed. So through that and lots of conversations with key members, we realized that we needed to change the model of how we support our members, not just here's a class, take it and goodbye, call me when you need to renew something. It's really, we want to build a relationship with our members and assisting them in providing their ongoing training to support their employees and to ensure they stay with them. The great thing about TaaS, it has been developed not by myself or my team. It's a subject matter expert. So we brought in about 10 different individuals from a variety of different level companies whose responsibility is hiring and training and overseeing the technicians. And we basically locked them in the room for a couple of days and picked their brain to get all the information we can out of them to figure out what does the program like training as a service need to be able to do. So this slide kind of covers really some of the high level basics to it. It's, it has to be customized for the company because, there is such a variety of services being provided by our members. We need to be able to let them customize it. Plus, not every employee is the same, right? So everybody comes to you with different experiences, different type of learning styles, education, so we wanted to make sure we could customize it. Convenience, obviously, that's what all of us as consumers and if you're a member of society today, you want it to be convenient. It's on demand. We want it now. We need it fast. And that's something that we made sure we could do. Effective, what is the content? That was so important to us as, we looked outside of our box as far as what does ESA National Training School normally offer and look at the company's needs. So obviously we're going to use a lot of our core material from the National Training School, such as our level 1, our access control, video training, networking. Now we have looked beyond that. We have customer service training, some fantastic classes, on basics, just like being a good employee, employee ethics, employee communication. So that was really important to us. So we also looked to develop the program so that it's in 2 tiers. And that's for the first level tier is for that new hire, that person that is, you just hired them. Maybe they're just out of a technical school, or they're right out of high school, or they've come to you from another company, but you want to give them a fundamental training. So this is our ESA system technician track, 69 hours of training. The beautiful thing about this is that we're going to help you get that person on the training, commit 3 to 4 hours a week on that training, so low commitment. And through that first 6 months while you have them, they will get through the training, and not only will they leave with a certified alarm technician level 1, they're also going to have OSHA 10, which is, a critical to a lot of jobs out there that most of our members are doing. They're going to have workforce skills. So, why it's important to be a good employee, how to do that. And then also some networking, and which is critical to most of the jobs people are doing, customer service. And then the nice part is the company gets to pick electives. So they get up to 20 hours of electives in that tier, depending on that employee and what their, like I said, their past history experiences. So that is and the beautiful thing about it as well, and I keep saying beautiful because it's fantastic, is the price point. That is another thing. We wanted to make sure it was accessible to every type of member we have. And so it's cost effective with $750. Tier 2 takes it up a notch. It's about a 6 to 18 month program. Once they've been with you 6 to 18 months, that's when we suggest you look at the Tier 2 program. We're going to hone in a lot of more specialized topics, such as possibly access control, video, fire, what channels and services do you provide, or where do you need that technician to hone their skills, plus tons more electives to choose from. I think that section has about 30 hours electives to choose from, and it's an extremely long list that covers, conduit bending, blueprinting, construction design. We really do broaden the scope of the focus of those topics in those electives for Tier 2. And then also some management training. So if you want that person to get more into supervising and things like project management, those get brought in as well. And go ahead.
Real
Yeah.
quick, Michelle. So what if a employee has already taken, say, the CAT level 1? So they're looking at enrolling them in the Tier 1 of the TaaS program. Is this what you're talking about with customizable? If they do have technicians that have already completed that level of training?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, so absolutely. And that's something that we were hoping and anticipating, that some of our customers would come to us and say, oh, this person already has CAT level 1. Now what? Can I not take this program? Well, absolutely they can. We have created a model so that they can, we'll basically go a la carte on them and say, oh, well, we'll reduce the price by this much because, oh, you already have OSHA 10. Oh, you already have level 1.
Gotcha.
So yeah, definitely flexible based on that company's needs and the employee, for sure.
Right. Mm-hmm. Perfect. So this, is this a timeline? Is this going over just the Tier 1 and Tier 2 as well?
This is showing you Tier 1. This and this kind of gets into the service side. We wanted to ensure that, you said it kind of in your opening statements regarding you never heard of a training as a service. Well, neither did we. It was kind of something, we tied into a lot of, in the technology world, everything has as a service, as a service acronym. SaaS, software as a service, is kind of one of the most common ones and original ones, I think, that have been out there. But we wanted to do training as a service, and honing in on the word service. Because what type of service besides the training component are we providing? Well, this is this slide is showing you the recommended timeline for the delivery and absorption of those courses. So we're not just going to dump all this content at you or your technician and say, knock yourself out, we'll see you in 6 months. This is a relationship that we'll be building with the employee taking the class as well as their manager. So it's a team, and that's really critical to us. The only way we're going to succeed is if we team up together with the manager, the employee, and our staff to be able to walk them through the program and to ensure those milestones that we've established in there are being met, and how we can assist the company to be more successful in training their employee or onboarding them. It also, besides the pathway, it also will include reporting. So you'll see here manager access, that training as a service manager. Every manager that gets that we're told about for those employees will get their own login to the system and be able to see, you know, their employees, what they have completed and what they haven't completed and when their due dates are. So we communicate, whether it's through reporting like this or through other conversations, check-ins, to say, where do we need some intervention in order to assist that employee. So definitely the service is there.
Perfect. And this, again, kind of comes back to, you know, how membership delivers. Investment is absolutely a two-way street. If you've kind of joined us for this webinar series, this is a slide that has remained because the possibilities really are endless. And like Michelle has, you know, touched on, how Pat has touched on, that we work with the individual company. We work with your, you know, with your needs, with your expectations, with your goals, and with some of those hard line requirements. So really, this is the way in which ESA membership is working for you guys. You don't have to be a member to purchase NTS training in general, but you do have to be a member to engage and enroll in the TaaS program. Obviously, you know, as we've kind of touched on in this webinar series, you know, that those price breaks, that hard number value is there, but also the intrinsic value behind ESA membership is absolutely there, because you have a group of people, a group of professionals, and really industry experts that are working for you guys and helping solve those problems or provide solutions to those problems that are really affecting every company right now in this industry, and giving you that competitive edge, you know, while also helping you guys focus on what matters, which is running your business successfully. So, you know, don't just take my word for it. Don't just take Michelle's word for it or Pat's word for it. Engage with us, check out membership, reach out to me, and we can sit down and take a look at your company. We can take a look at your needs. We can take a look at your employees, and really see if what we have to offer is relevant. We'll provide what it is you're looking for, or maybe offer something that you didn't even know you needed to look for. You know, hopefully you guys you know, learn something from not just the webinar series as a whole, but learn something from our national training school about what we offer. You know, if you have any more questions, absolutely reach out to me, esaweb.org/meetsophia. That'll take you to the link for my calendar. We can schedule a meeting. I can bring in Pat or Michelle, or really anybody that that may also be able to weigh in on your company and what it is you're looking for, or just give me a call, 972-807-6824. And I think we're going to open up now to questions. If you guys have any questions for myself, for Pat, for Michelle, whether it's about licensing or TaaS or state requirements, go ahead and enter those now, and I think Jillian will field those to us.
Absolutely. We have a few questions here from those on the webinar. And I do want to remind you, if you're tuning in on Facebook Live, please just add your question in the comment section, and we'll be sure to address those as well. So I've got my first question here. I heard starting in 2020, ESA members would receive a credit towards online training. Can you discuss that?
Absolutely, yes. So we are super excited for the 2020 calendar year for membership. Our members are getting quite the laundry list of member exclusives, and one of those exclusives this year is a $250 training credit applied to their account. Now they can apply this at any time and for any purchase that they choose to make. It is a one-time credit, but each member will have access to that, absolutely. So you guys will either be receiving an email or something, in direct mail that will have a code or I believe a PIN code or an access code or a gift certificate code. I'm not sure what that looks like just yet, but I wanted to make sure to confirm, yes, our members are getting $250 in free credits this year to use on any NTS training. And that's in addition to their $100 price break on courses. That's in addition to their power volume discount package pricing. That's in addition to already the member exclusives that they're getting just by being a member already. Thanks for that. Appreciate that.
Thank you. Okay, so let's say I have an employee that I just hired, but I'm not sure if they fit in tier 1 or tier 2, given their experience. Is there any kind of test that I can give them to better understand their skill set? They may say they're at this level, but I want to make sure and confirm that.
That is a perfect question, and thanks so much for bringing that up. Yes, so actually including or kind of along with TaaS that we're releasing this year, Michelle, I'll let you touch on this a little bit more. You know a bit more than I do about the assessment exam. So we have, from what I understand, some industry-specific assessment exams that our companies, that our company owners and our managers can give to incoming or even current employees. Is that correct?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. So it is something new that we haven't quite launched yet, but through all those years of offering this training, we're really big on proctor exams. I think we have well over 1,000, if not more, questions in our test banking system. And what we are now taking those and creating these assessment exams. So as an employer, you want to see how much access control an individual has, whether they're a new hire or you're looking to promote them in that area. Then you can give them this quick assessment exam. And it's the price point will be good. In some cases, we'll probably even utilize it in the training as a service program, just to help better advise you on where, the specific question was, are they tier 1, are they tier 2, helping you maybe decide on some electives. So yeah, absolutely. So definitely look for some more information being launched about those exams. Yeah,
well, that's really great too, because it seems very well rounded. So, not only do we have training for, for whether it's installers or technicians or managers, but we also have a way now that you can gauge what training you need to give to your incoming employees or even current employees that are looking to be promoted, or, if you're needing to kind of shift some of your staff to kind of understand where their talents lie, and then where you kind of need to fill the gaps on their education. So it seems, I mean, really from start to finish, we really kind of provide for any kind of training or education need that they have. That's pretty cool. I like that. Mm-hmm. Thanks, Michelle.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, I can't count how many horror stories I've heard of guys saying they hired somebody who was promoted as a lead technician, right? This is going to be my new lead technician. And how do I test for that and make sure that they're really going to be that qualified person to lead a team?
Right.
So I'm going to give everybody here just one more moment to ask any questions that they may have about training, licensing, the new training as a service program or membership. I don't see anything further on Facebook.
I just wanted to mention that while we have the power user packages for online training, we also have power user pricing for the TaaS program. So for the larger companies that have bigger needs, we do have price breaks based on volume for TaaS as well.
Oh, and Pat, actually, you bring up a great point, which we didn't really touch on. So some of you may or may not be aware that we provide training in a lot of different mediums and ways, and again, to kind of form fit around your needs. But so we have our online training, correct, Pat? We have our virtual training, so where you can go online and still have direct access and communication with a live instructor. We do have a variety of live courses being offered in different states. Now, Pat, if we do have a company that may be of a more medium or large size, now we can send to them a instructor, correct?
Correct. If a
Okay.
company wants a private class at their facility, I can send an instructor, and it's live classroom training. It's the cost per student, and once again, based on number of attendees, there are price breaks depending on the size of the class. But we do that as well. So if somebody wants a live class, if I typically need a minimum number of students to pay my instructor's daily rate and travel expenses. With our virtual classes, I can do a smaller class. If your students have a computer that's equipped with a microphone and webcam, they log in, they see the instructor, they can ask the instructor questions. So it's a way to, or if your people are spread out over the state, it's a way to where you don't have to pay travel expenses for your students to come in and take class. So that option's available. We launched virtual training this year.
Very cool. Thanks, Pat. Appreciate that. Thank you guys for joining. So glad you guys were here. Those who maybe had to cut out earlier, or even those who are now watching this in replay, you guys will be getting access to the link for this presentation. So if there's any information in the slides that you guys want to go back over, you'll be getting that in your inbox. Remember, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. No obligation. We can see if our programs or services or training works for you guys, and hopefully we can become a provider or a solution. And again, thank you guys for joining us. Really appreciate it. I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday season, and this will be our last webinar for this series before the end of the year. So Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everyone.